All right, it is Monday afternoon, Monday night, wherever you are, and it is time for another live Q&A. So if you're not familiar with the format, you can ask any questions you want in the chat, and then we'll get to them eventually. Be patient, because it takes a while to go through all of them. We have hundreds of questions every time. I don't know hundreds, but dozens of questions for sure every week. So, but yeah, it's Monday. It's a new week. Exciting week ahead. We have a guest coming in town tomorrow. We have a guest coming in town next week. We have Commercial UAV Expo, and yeah, we have quite a busy week, busy few weeks coming up. Before I forget, and I'll mention it again before we end, we have the community photo contest that is ending tomorrow by 6 p.m. So make sure that if you haven't submitted your submission yet, you do need to be a community member, which you can be if you enroll in any of our courses. And then you get to win one of the cool trophies, and then a $200 gift card to Amazon as well. So good stuff. This is going to be the fourth winner that we've done since we started. So one every month. And then once we're done, we'll put the new stuff next month. The voting is going to begin after we close up the submissions here tomorrow. So we'll send you information on how to vote. If you've never done it before, it's pretty straightforward. But yeah, that's where we're at with the community. We also had a community announcement on Friday, which you may have missed during our happy hour. If you missed it, you can go back and watch it. We will have more information about that community announcement publicly next month. So the 1st of September, whatever that first Saturday, that first Monday is going to be, we'll talk about that. But in the meantime, if you want to see, there is a full release on the community. I know I'm being a tease, but that's where the information is. So head over to community.pilotinstitute.com. You can see the brand new announcement. If you're a student with us, then you can see the announcement right in there. So, and it's a cool one, so you don't want to miss it. All right. I'm going to go and say hi to a bunch of folks in here. We have Fern, Thorough Inspired, pretty much here every single week. John Jackson, also here quite a bit. Curtis Warren, Bob Rock, Sergio De La Garza, Drone Shots, Joe Mayo. Joe Mayo. Wait, is that a Seinfeld? Is that a Seinfeld character? That's all I knew. Don't ask us. It's a Huh. Or maybe that's his real name. Crazy. No, that's not Joe Mayo. It's oh my God. Anyways, it is something in Seinfeld. Joe Mayo? Yeah, there you go. Okay. All right. Northern Drone Guy. Richard Hooker is here as well. See him quite a bit. Scott Jordan, Hike and Fly, After As Media. Official Green Diamond. Nunia Business. Nunia Business? None of your business? Is that what it's supposed to be? Nanya? From Melbourne, Australia. Awesome. Drew Lancaster, Buzz Dixon, and Fazal, Pat Lavigne. Anyways, a whole bunch of folks. QWERTY, Joshua is here. Love Tribe Overland, Jason Williams, El Kaba, Star Performer, and a lot more. Holy crap, there's a lot of you out here. Drone Service Provider Alliance is here. Must be Vic logged into his wrong account. There we go. It's the same anarchist logo on the account, so they're easy to... I bet you Vic has never noticed that. I've noticed this a long time.
You should get that tattooed on his shoulder.
Yeah. It's totally the anarchist logo, but it's okay, Vic, deep inside. All right. On that note, welcome all. And yeah, let's get started with the question. I see holy crap, there's a lot of questions already in here. Fun stuff. Oh, if you're wondering about the new building, we are Joe DiMaggio. That's who it was. But no, there's somebody else in Seinfeld also. Crazy Joe DeVola. There you go. Thank you. It's Joe DeVola. Close. The new building, we've got pretty much all the carpet is out of this building. And if you had seen the amount of carpet that was in that building, it's a lot of carpet. So I'm glad that this is all out. There's 2 sections that we're waiting to remove the carpet for a good reason. And then the floor is very sticky where some of the carpet was glued. So I went in there this morning with the bank actually to do a follow-up with them. And I said, well, we can't walk in here because it's very sticky. And she tried, but she gave up.
Did you take any Gugon?
Gugon, I don't think. It would take like half the supply of Gugon that's currently available in the country to get rid of all that glue. They put some kind of like dust on the ground to cover it up, which has helped quite a bit. But I don't know how they're going to get rid of it. So it's going to be fun. Oh, I see Sparky. Mr. S is here. So welcome, Sparky Video Production. All right. I'm trying to see if Vic has responded to the... He said Kenji designed it. I noticed it. Sparky, there's a lot of carpet in there. What about the sleeping chamber? Yes. So there was a coffin in a new building. It was a fake coffin, I think.
It was slightly used.
It was slightly used. There were notes inside the coffin that said, "Don't forget the water."
Claw marks.
And there were not claw marks. Why a coffin? Not sure. The previous owner had 2 coffins in there, and they left one of them. We debated for a while to keep the coffin in the building or not. We kind of decided that it was going to just get moved around. The opportunity for having a coffin in videos was pretty limited, I think. I think Ben was sad, but I think Ethan and Bo were on the same page as I was, which was get rid of the damn thing. So it's gone. It went on one of the trash run. But yeah, so no more coffin in there, Sparky. So I see Jillian from the community is here. Welcome, welcome. All right, let's get to the first question. Fern SP says, what drone insurance do you recommend? Is Skywatch a good insurance option? Yeah, Skywatch is definitely one of them that's out there, one of the largest one. You can look at, oh no, you're asking me for names. First thing up, it's not good. Global Aerospace is one of them. I've done business with Global Aerospace for a long time. And then there's another one. Vic, which one do you use? Vic will put it in there. It's going to take a few seconds because there's a delay. But yeah, I would look at that. Global. Ben, what did you find? Skywatch. I don't know any of those. Anyways, so yeah, but Skywatch is a good one. I would shop around, get a couple quotes and see what works best for you. John Jackson says, I recall drone pilots hitting any wildlife in flight have to file an NTSB report. If Batman, not in manned bat vehicle, flies into my drone but isn't hospitalized, is the NTSB report required? Yeah, I think we would want to know if you hit the best superhero out there. I knew I was going to get a response from Ben, whether I was going to get something thrown at me or...
No, you're correct.
Oh, okay. Wow. Really? I put you more as a Superman guy. I don't know much about superheroes, but yeah. So yeah, are superhero collision exempt from NTSB report? I don't think so. You're hitting something in flight, so they would want to know. Vic responded something. Hartford. Yeah, that's right. Hartford. The Hartford. Not just any Hartford. The Hartford, yes. Okay. Next. How close to a drone's maximum wind resistance do you fly in? If the Air 3 is rated 12 meters per second, do you fly in 10 meters per second wind? Yeah, I mean, wind resistance, max wind resistance ratings are like speed limit. They're just recommendations. So, no joke? Come on. We need a live studio audience in here.
Oh, man, that would be so good.
So no, max wind resistance, here's what it means. Max wind resistance means that at one point the drone is unable to fight the wind to maintain its position. So it's going to start drifting. That's really what it means. I would not fly past that limit, but I would definitely fly, I think 10 meters per second out of 12 is probably okay. Yeah. That's, I was going to say something else, but no. Okay, Joe Mayo says, did anyone see the video from downtown Las Vegas? Drone wandered the streets and went into several bars. Awesome video, but how could this be legal? It is actually possible to get approval to fly in Las Vegas, so it's not out of the question that they were able to do that. As far as flying over the streets, they would need to get also approval to fly over people, which is not illegal. It's possible. Difficult, getting easier, but I haven't seen it, so I can't really say. But
then how does that change once they fly inside?
Yeah, well, once you fly inside, you basically have access to, well, there's no FAA regulation flying inside, so inside would be fine. It's just outside. Jared is here, Texas Drone Company. What's up, Jared? Northern Drone Guy says, can a recreational pilot fly from a moving car? And could they do it at night? Ooh, that is a good question. I mean, the only limitation would be in CBO guidelines. I don't remember seeing any CBO guidelines against doing that, but you'd have to check. It's been a while since I've looked at the CBO guidelines. So, yeah. Not that I can think of. The question would be why? And is it still a recreational flight? That would be my question. As far as flying at night, the FAA allows you to fly at night recreationally as long as you get approval in the airspace, and then as long as you have, again, as long as you follow night guidelines from community-based organizations. Official Green Diamond says, what should I do if my drone does not have a serial number and it was gifted to me? Ooh. There's got to be a serial number somewhere. On the box, maybe. And if it's not on the box, inside of the software, on the outside, inside the battery compartment. If not, you can click, you can say NA. No, well, no, actually, I take that back. There is a segment in the when you register on the FAA Drone Zone that has something about no serial number. So you should be able to register it without it. Because when we build drones ourselves, it doesn't have a serial number. If anything, just put 00001 and then you should be good to go. Yeah, sorry. Yep. Fazal says, want to thank you again. Your course is responsible for me passing my Part 107 just the other week. Awesome. Love it. Any good recommendation, insight to start a real business, how to get jobs? So, yeah, I hate to say buy our course, but really, we've had that question so many times that we build a drone business course. It's probably a good investment for you. We keep it relatively cheap. I don't know what the sale is for that course right now, but $50, $70. And we walk you through all the different steps to build a business plan, to do research, to find what the competition is doing, to find how you're gonna price your offerings and all of that. What is it? $199. Oh, $199. We have discounts for that. So yeah, reach out to us. We have discounts available for that. Go to the little chat box, and then we'll help you with that in the bottom right of the website. But yeah, that's what I would recommend. Building, well, yeah, in the community we have some tips as well, but I've designed the course specifically to help people start from nothing all the way to having a full business plan that actually makes sense. And a lot of people just jump both feet in without really doing a lot of research. I recommend against that, and so I walk you through all the steps. So yeah. Love Tribe Overland says, flying over people question. We record our off-road overland travels, which may involve flying over our own vehicle, other vehicles in our group. Is that a violation of the FAA? Yes, you cannot fly over people, technically even including your own. But there's a lot of ways to do it without flying over. And to be clear, because I know Vic is going to mention it, it's flying over people in moving vehicles. So that's what the FAA does not allow. So if you have like a pickup truck, for example, and you want to fly the drone over the pickup bed and nobody is in the bed, then you're good to go. It's just the FAA doesn't want you flying over people inside of moving vehicles. Now, there are ways around this by getting waivers, by getting drones that are approved to do that. But there are also ways to avoid it. And that's personally what I would do if you don't have the waivers. QWERTY says, can you fly over railways when the train is not there? Yes. Yes, and you can hover as well. Absolutely. No limitations there. Again, kind of goes back to what I just said, actually. It kind of ties in, which is flying over people in moving vehicles. A train would be a moving vehicle. So if you're flying over a train that has a car or the whatever the thing in the front is called on a train, the engine, then you can't fly over people. But if there's no people in it, if it's a freight train, then you're good. Fazal says, to clarify, you can only go 400 feet AGL above the ground in addition to the height of a building if only not restricted airspace. Correct. Getting airspace approval restricts you to 400 feet period, no matter the building height. Yes, that is correct. So this is really interesting. And also I will add, this is only for non-recreational. So it's only under Part 107 that you can fly within 400 feet of an object. And if you got lens approval, if you read the lens approval details, it says that the altitude at which you were cleared is above the ground, not around any other object. It's absolute altitude. So yes, if you were clear to 200 feet, you cannot add the height of any building to that 200 feet AGL. It's above the ground only. People get confused about that, but the reason the FAA does it this way is because sometimes, most of the time, approvals are given in areas that are close to the airport. That's why we have a restriction of height. And adding any altitude on top of another building could put you in the pathway of another aircraft. So make sure that you do not fly any higher than what you were approved if you got a lens approval in control, which would be in airspace that requires authorization. Mobius says, good evening. How do I sell my drone business? Ooh, that's a good question. I don't think anybody's ever asked this. Selling a drone business is like selling any other business. You're going to have to figure out what it's worth, which is going to be based on a lot of different things, but mostly based on revenue and based on, the profit. And there's a lot of different factors that go into this. So I would say research. I'm no expert in selling businesses, by the way, but I would research online how to sell a business. A drone business, the fact that it's a drone business doesn't really matter. It's just a business. Fazal says, do you feel like the Avata 2 is good enough to fly through of a business? Or do I need to get a Cinewhoop smaller drone? What is the best simulator that you would recommend to fly manual the Avata 2? So let's go question by question here. The Avata 2, a lot of people use it to do cinematography indoors. People also use the Mini series with prop guards on it, although the Avata 2 I think makes a bit more sense because it's got prop guards already on it. And then as far as the best simulator, I would use the DJI simulator, quite frankly. So download it on your iPhone or on your phone, I should say. And then I don't know if it's available on Android. I know DJI and Android are not big friends. So I would say, I'm not sure. But if you have an Apple device, you should be able to do that. Okay. I'm going to Ireland, England, and France next month. I want to bring my DJI Air 3. I passed the EU A1, A3 and UK A1, A3 certificate exam. What app would you suggest similar to AirAware? Well, there's not really an app like that over there. So, but I don't know about Ireland and England, but in France, for example, they have a website where you can go and see a map of, where you can fly and where you can't fly. So I'm sure Ireland and England have the same thing, so I would recommend looking into that. Fazal says, I saw your news update about drone power washing. Didn't know it even existed. Do you feel those are good, solid business ideas to start off? They seem pretty intense investment. Yeah, it's definitely a big investment, but just like everything in any business, the more investment there's going to be in equipment, the more of a barrier to entry it is for the typical person. So higher risk, typically higher reward. You need to find out, obviously, if you live in an area that has taller buildings where it would make sense to do power washing using a drone. We live in a pretty small town-ish where there's not a ton of tall buildings, so I don't think this is something that I would start here in Prescott. If I lived in Phoenix, probably. You know, it's hot, dangling from buildings, and it's pretty dusty around here. So I'm guessing they probably need a lot of window washing. So yeah, I guess again, it kind of goes back to what I said before, which is you got to go through this business plan of asking yourself all of these questions, looking at the competition, looking at potential customers that you have in the area, and how many of those can you capture realistically. So that's what I would say. But yeah, again, investment, the more risk, the more typically you're going to have a reward if you have a solid business plan. Will Part 107 pilot need a remote ID module on the DJI Neo since it's sub 250? Yes, Part 107 pilots, if you operate under Part 107, you need remote ID regardless of the size of the drone. Josh says, are you aware of any classes that help you get your drone advanced certificate in Canada? I don't have any recommendations, but I know there are classes definitely available. Google is probably your best friend in this case. Pew, pew. Next, Fazal says, if I wanted to fly international in Dubai, what are things I should look into? Last time I went there with my drone was held at the airport, and I didn't have Part 107 back then, but isn't Part 107 just for the US? Yes. Part 107 is only for the US, and so whatever the equivalent is in Dubai, I'm not familiar with their rules, but you would have to find exactly what they require in order to fly the drone over there. You may not be able to do it. Lens Enterprises says, what's a good entry-level FPS, I'm guessing FPV drone, or software simulator FPV to learn on? I mean, I hate to say DJI again, but a DJI Avata 2 or even find an older Avata 1 to learn. It's a good platform. There's the DJI FPV as well. You can also learn to build your own, which it takes a little bit more time. There's a bit more of a learning curve. And then as far as the simulator, DJI allows you to use their sim when you get the drone, so that's kind of a all-in-one package, which makes it easier. I think eventually you probably want to go to building your own as you get better with it, but it's a good way to start. So the cool old drone guy, as opposed to what? Have you ever heard of a bird strike causing a drone to lose its mind? I've heard of bird strikes with drones for sure. And eventually they crash down and get their brains blown out. So we'd consider that losing your mind, right?
I wonder if it hits the obstacle avoidance.
Yeah, I mean, the drone would definitely, if you get hit by a bird, you would definitely probably lose a propeller. Excuse me. I don't know why I keep yawning. It's not you guys, just a long day. Bill says, I haven't heard anything in a while about FPV without a VO. Is that a possibility at some point? I'm thinking in a defined space, like below treetops or even under trees in a forest. Yeah, so that the only way to do this right now is using a waiver. You can submit them. They have been approved. I'm pretty sure Vic has one available. But otherwise, no, there's no change in regulation. So unless you have a waiver of the regulation, you wouldn't be able to do that. Can college students fly as recreational pilot, trust certified and CBO guidelines as part of a course? So, yes, institution of higher learning technically can do it. This is changing, by the way, with the FAA Reauthorization Act. I would go to the FAA page. There's an educational section, and then there it tells you what the requirements are for the for qualifying for the educational exemption. It's basically an exemption that allows students to fly under Part 107, that allows students to fly under recreational rules, not Part 107. But for some reason, I'm having a brain fart right now. But I'm pretty sure institutions of higher learning are available in there. Typically, like middle schools and smaller schools don't have the ability to do that, but which is dumb. But that's changing, like I said. Would it be legal on my property in a huge field if I were to 4x4 my truck while wearing my FPV goggles and flying at the same time? On your own property doesn't matter because the FAA controls the airspace, which unfortunately you don't, or fortunately, I don't know. But you still need to have a visual observer with you while flying the drone. Now, flying FPV as well as driving you 4x4, I do not recommend it one bit. Really, really dangerous and difficult to do. So, but if you do, make sure you make a video and send it to us so we can watch it. I'm not being mean. I'm just, I don't think it's a good idea. How can an official prove you can't see the drone just because they can't? Well, they can ask you to point where it is, and then, I don't know. I've never heard of the FAA asking for that. But chances are, if they can't see it, you probably can't see it. But also remember that it's not just a dot on the horizon. You need to be able to prove the direction of flight. You need to be able to prove, you need to have command of the airspace. You need to be able to prove altitude, attitude, and all that good stuff. So it's more than just seeing the drone. Visual line of sight is more than that.
I think there's some posted videos on YouTube where we can clearly see that people have gone beyond visual line of sight.
Yeah, and I mean, it's none of our business to, comment on those videos. But yeah, it's obviously when you get to a certain distance, the human eye, unless you're Superman, it has limitations. But yeah, that's a good question. I don't know. I don't know that the FAA cares that much about that. But yeah. Wong says, I'm excited for the DJI Neo. It seems that Hover Air is doing a competition with DJI with their new product, Hover X Pro and X Pro Max. What are your thoughts? I hate to say it, I am not familiar with Hover Air at all, so I won't be able to give you my opinion on that one. Sorry. Drew Lancaster says, I have one question. Would you move forward in an Agri spray business with the countering CCP bills talk coming back around? I mean, all of the bills that we've seen right now are only banning future drones, not new drones, not current drones. So, I mean, if anything, I would get the DJI drones right now because they're the ones that are available. There's not a whole lot of Agri drones available right now. So, yeah, there's definitely a booming business. We've seen a lot of demand for this kind of business. Jim says, pass today. Now, where's the link to merch? I'm sure Jason is going to put the link. Actually, I'll put it right now. This is your shirt. So if you passed with a 90 or more, then go to this link right here in the course, and then you'll be able to get a free shirt. Otherwise, if you want to get your own shirt, then you can get it right here on Amazon. That's where I would get it. So it depends on how you score. Either you pay for it yourself or we'll get one for you. Brian says, it may have already been asked, but will I have to give up if banned? No, I just mentioned that. So I'm a hobbyist and I own 3 DJI drones. Will I have to? Okay, that's the same question. Next. Where's a good place to learn about FAA regulation versus local ordinance? Here, the wiki page is where you want to do that. I'm going to link you to that page. You can go to the state section on the link I just shared, and that link is going to take you to a place where we have local restrictions, a list of them that we keep up to date, and that's going to hopefully help you. And if it's missing, if you know of a restriction that's not in there, let us know, and then we'll add it as well. Choop, choop. Next, Official Green Diamond says, Do you recommend DJI drones despite the upcoming ban? Well, we don't know that the ban is going to be there, first off. And yes, it's still the best drone on the market. So I would say get them while you can, I guess, is if there's a ban ever coming through. A town near me has this law in place prohibits recreational drone flight over private property without the consent of the property owner. Nope, they can't do that. So always read the fine prints, though, at the very end. Typically, towns get away with it by saying, for the purpose of why can't I find the word? It's going to get back to me. It's basically for purpose of spying, which is not the term that they use, but there's always kind of a caveat in there. Surveillance for the purpose of surveillance. So if they can prove that you're doing surveillance, then that's what it would be. But otherwise, so make sure you read the rest of that sentence. But otherwise, no, they're not allowed to restrict airspace access, although they try. Obviously, this is what we see here, where they try to restrict airspace access because they can, until somebody takes them to court, which is expensive and they know probably won't happen. So they're just bullying people around, basically.
He also says recreational, so I wonder if he has his Part 107 and that's exempt.
Yeah, but even then, they shouldn't be able to restrict recreational flights in any way, shape, or form. So they're trying. Jim says, I'd love one of those gray heather golf shirts that you're wearing. Are they available? No, they're not available. These are only for employees. So we keep those in-house. All of our polo shirts are not available for sale. The only ones that you can get is a specific polo that says graduate underneath it. If you get 100%, then you get a special shirt. Those are not available for sale as well. They're very unique, and we want to keep it that way. But yeah, no, these shirts, they're only ours. If we ever do a version, yeah, we do have the full-size shirt with the full logo on it, but the polo shirts usually are reserved for employees. What about flying a drone and moving people when Godzilla is present? That's allowed. If Godzilla is here, you can do whatever you want.
That's state of emergency.
That's all FAA regulation goes down the tube. Promise there will be no FAA people to catch you. Get as much footage as you can for the next movie. Practicing photography. If I am walking along as I fly, my drone logs show that I flew BV loss, but I'm actually not far away. Is that an issue? Well, you can't. Your drone is not going to show that you flew BV loss. That the FAA is not going to be looking at that. I can tell you now. The FAA is not going to go back and look at your log to say, here you were this distance. Yeah. Stinker says, I just passed my trust and ordered a Mavic Mini 4 Pro. My understanding, I don't have to register and remote ID is not active. Once I get Part 107, what steps do I need to fly commercially? So correct. If you have a Mini 4 Pro, as long as you keep it below the 250 gram limit, then you don't have to register it if you fly recreationally, and you don't have to have remote ID. Once you fly under Part 107, you will need both of those. So you'll need to have a module, unless you fly with a larger battery, which will broadcast remote ID. But otherwise, if you have the smaller battery, you will need to have a module on top of the drone. Drone Aviator says, Ben P here. Is there a particular drone for thermography that you prefer or recommend for commercial use? Yeah, I mean, for thermography, the Mavic 3 Enterprise Thermal is pretty much kind of the standard these days. But you can also get the Autel Evo 2 dual, or the one that has just the Evo 2 thermal with the thermal camera on it, 640. Yeah, those are kind of, and then of course the Mavic 2 Enterprise was the older version before the Mavic 3 Enterprise. So those are also great to use. So there's not a ton of them out there that are somewhat affordable and usable, but those are some of them. Cool Old Drone Guy says, I recently had 3 hard bird strike on my DJI M3P. which almost took it out. Am I required to make a report about this? They attacked my drone. There's a place where you can record bird strikes, but if the drone wasn't destroyed, I would say no. Sealer Imaging says, what definitely qualifies as critical infrastructure? That's a good question. The definition was written to be ambiguous, yes, and seen some folk mistake that every home roof in the state of New Mexico is critical infrastructure. Correct. It is undefined at the moment at the state level. Well, let me rewind. The FAA was mandated 5 or 6 years ago to create regulation to define what critical infrastructure is, and they haven't. God knows why, but they haven't. And as a result, we are left with states that are trying to define what critical infrastructures are on their own, which is not good, because one state can say that a school is a critical infrastructure and a nuclear power plant, when another state can say that somebody's backyard is a critical infrastructure. So with the lack of guidance from the FAA at the moment, federally, you can see that critical infrastructure is what's defined on the UAS facility map. So if you go to the UAS facility map, then you'll be able to see that. Now, there are sites like, for example, the Hoover Dam. I can think of that because it's close to us near Las Vegas, which is a critical infrastructure. So you can't fly in there as per the FAA. So yeah, take a look at that for sure. Next, Lemon Tea Sensei. Are there any good flight log templates out there, or is it better to make your own? I would say make your own. I haven't seen, I'm sure there are some out there, but you don't need a ton of data. You know, the date, the flight time, probably your location, purpose for the flight, and then of course the type of aircraft that you flew, and then the total flight time. I think I said that already. BEM 1962. Yeah, section 2209. Thank you, Vic. I knew it was a 4-digit starting with a 2, but I couldn't remember what it was. Section 2209 is what the FAA needs to pass in order to get a definition of critical infrastructure. You said federal security agencies are bickering back and forth. Yeah, probably too. But it's still a mandate from the FAA, so they need to get on it. BEM says going to San Juan and St. Thomas, where they are U.S. territories, does FAA rules still go? Ooh, that's a good question. I don't know, actually. They have to, because it's... I have to admit, I don't know. I would have to go back and read the regulation, but... if it's the United States territory, I don't know. That's a good question. We'll look it up because I want to know. There's a San Juan FISDO? Well, then yes. Okay. Well, thank you. That's good. Yeah. So if there is a San Juan FISDO, then it means it's under FAA. Yes. Where's our FAA friend to answer that question in the chat? I haven't seen him today, so. Ernest says, have you heard of gutting a wrecked drone and building into an FPV frame? Gimbal issues doing so. Well, yeah, it's not as easy as you think. It also depends on what drone you gut. So if you build your own drone, you're going to have to use a software to control that drone. That software may not talk to every payload. So for example, you can't just take a DJI drone, gut it, and put a new brain in it and try to control the gimbal and all of that. So yeah, it doesn't work like that, unfortunately. Yep. Vic says, look at the ArcGIS map. That's a good one. It's a good idea. But yes. Formerly film photography, I watched 3 videos in the premium community and they are great, but I noticed buffering in all 3. Is it just me or anyone else having the issue? It could be that these videos are pretty high quality as far as the... We'll look into it. We'll take a look. This is the first that we see this, but thanks for reporting it. It could be because of the player that we were using, but I know Jillian, I'm sure, is taking note, and we will be looking into that. Cyborg Hawk 97. No, it's Cyber. Just kidding. Just got recertified for Part 107. Is Beast Pilot a good way to get some commercial experience while flying? I mean, it is one of these websites that has cheap jobs that you can take. It's good to build your experience, I guess, but eventually I think you'll want to get away from that. But yeah, if you want to build experience, it's a good way to do it. I don't think it's a great way. It's a good way to do it. Bob Rock says, what is your opinion on a PIC wearing a yellow safety vest that says FAA certified remote pilot printed on the back? Would you suggest a different wording? Personally, I would just do a vest that has nothing on it. Just wear a vest, just like construction workers do, just like a lot of other people do. And then people won't look at you even a second time. There was a funny video online of two people carrying a ladder inside of a business, right? You've seen that? And then just basically getting in because they're carrying a ladder and nobody looks at them twice. And so it's kind of the same idea. Now, I'm not saying that putting, certified drone pilot in the back of it is a bad thing, but I just think it brings more attention than anything else. So I would just leave it empty.
Especially if you're trying to sneak into a movie theater with a ladder.
Yes, if you're trying to sneak in. But you know what? Sneaking into a concert with a yellow vest probably works. Just look busy. The key is to look like you belong, like you know what you're doing. If you hesitate, that's it. But if you're like, nah, this is where I'm going. Oh yeah, and then you go, and then you're good. What FPV drones do you recommend? I think I mentioned that a little bit earlier. Depends if you're getting started. It depends if you want to learn how to build them. If you want to learn how to build them, it's definitely the best way to go. There's a bit of a learning curve, but otherwise DJI has options that are pre-built and ready to go. You can also buy pre-built drones, by the way, that are not DJI. We have... Yes. Yeah, the Johnny Frame, for example, is one of them. Yeah. Do you think DJI will continue support of current drones if future drones get banned, like DJI Care Refresh? I think they are required to do that. Well, I don't know, actually. I don't know why they wouldn't, but I'm not a DJI employee, so I can't say. Can I fly a Vada and Mavic Air 2 recreationally with registering the drone, or do I need Part 107? Yeah, you can fly any drone recreationally as long as it's registered, if it's over 250 grams, and as long as you follow all of the rules. Vic says, one of my waiver requires a remote pilot and visual observer identified vest. That's good. That's good to know. Michael says, can I fly? I just said that. How do you get your Part 107? Good question. Shameless plug, go to our website. We have a course. We've trained more people in this industry than anybody else to do this. And yeah, almost double the next entity that trains pilots. So I would say, yeah, go out there, go to the website, pilotinstitute.com, and then we have a course that's going to walk you through all the things that you need to do. It's a small investment. You'll have access, lifetime access, and then you'll be able to come back to the course as there is new updates. So a lot of good things with the course, and we guarantee that you pass, so you can't really fail. Next, can I Bluetooth an iPad tablet to my drone for my friend or future customers can see where I'm flying? Not exactly. So there's... Yeah, the best way to do this is to have some sort of a transmitter that's going to transmit the information. I mean, you can plug in if you have a controller that has an HDMI plug, you can plug in the controller with an HDMI plug and then the other side into the TV and then do a live feed like that. Now, if you want to go wireless, you would need to have some sort of a transmitter, HDMI transmitter. There's a bunch of them available. You can find actually some pretty cheap one on Amazon that will basically do either an HDMI to another HDMI plug. It's like a little dongle that sends the information. We looked at those for our VR goggles, and they didn't work for the VR, but they would work if you have an HDMI plug. But otherwise, yeah, there's no. It wouldn't be Bluetooth in this case. Lee Foster says I fly FPV and have a couple Polar Vista still in the box. Should I activate them before if the ban goes into effect? I don't know what a Polar Vista is. If it's an FPV drone, I mean, the current proposed bans that we're seeing is only for DJ. Well, it's mostly for DJI. I mean, activate them and have them ready, I would say, but I wouldn't stress too much about that. Can I do mapping with my Mavic 3 Pro? I can't load third-party software. It's not really designed to do mapping, so mapping is going to be better with an enterprise drone because you'll be able to do to capture data. Now, to get started, you can use a Mavic 3 Pro to capture images manually, and then you'll be able to process that data. We actually made a video on our YouTube channel a couple months ago with Jared that kind of shows how to do all of that. We used a mini, but the idea is the same. But you'll have to manually capture the data, which is not the most fun or the most precise. Next. Damn, we have a lot of questions today. I wanted to take footage of a city welcome sign that is on the street. It is kind of high. Do you think that would be legal in California? I mean, I don't see why not, unless there is a local flight restriction of sorts. I don't see why not. When moving states, I change address on IACRA within 30 days, but how do I get the new license with a new address? You don't get a new license with a new address. My commercial pilot license still has my very first address on it that I had back in Florida. So you just don't get a new one. The address gets changed in the system, but they don't issue a new card. It's just too expensive to do that for the FAA. If my friend did have a video of himself doing donuts on the beach while flying an FPV, where would I send that video? Asking for a friend. Production@pilotinstitute.com. Yes. Ethan wants it.
Please.
How far from... Man, that would be so disorientating.
I don't know. That's skill.
That's actually pretty skillful. Because your brain would tell you one thing while the drone is doing something else, and then you still have to control both the vehicle and the drone in FPV. How many hands does your friend have that used to live in Russia? Well, just put a tint on it to make it look like it was shot in Mexico. For those of you that are movie aficionados, there's a filter when things are shot in Mexico, if you've never seen that meme. How far from the Hoover Dam can you fly? Is it marked on charts? Yes, it is marked on charts. I'm not going to say it, but yes, be careful. You can fly somewhat south of it, but you have to be able to find a spot to take off from, which is the difficulty. We had a discussion in the office with another person lately, and I don't know if he's heard. I don't want to name him because I don't know if he wants his name mentioned. Please summarize what do we need to follow as a recreational drone pilot in 2024. Summary is pretty simple. There's like 8 different rules or 9 different rules in 49 USC 44809. That's the rules that you want to follow. And then you have to, two of those rules are important. One, you have to get trust completed. Trust.pilotinstitute.com is where you can do it for free. And then you have to pick a CBO, a community-based organization. We explain all of that into the trust, so you can do that. We also have a free course that's called Recreational Flying Made Easy that you can take that will give you more information. I just put a link in the description. But as far as the summary, that's it. I mean, use common sense. Don't fly above 400 feet above the ground. Don't fly over people moving vehicles. Get airspace authorization before you fly into airspace, and then get trust and pick a CBO. I think stay away from other aircraft. Don't interfere. I think that's kind of the big ticket items. Vic says basic outcome. Vic was the person. He named himself, so I'm going to name him. Don't fly the Hoover Dam unless you have dollars. Yeah, they want an expensive fee to get a permit to do that. And then because the problem is that the Hoover Dam is, first off, the main section is restricted airspace by the FAA because it's a critical infrastructure. And then second, the rest of it surrounding it is NPS, National Park Service. It's not a national park, but it's controlled by National Park Service, which means that you need to get their permission, and they want a hefty fee to do that. So, yeah, good stuff. And it's also in 2 different states. The western side is in Nevada, and the eastern side is in Arizona. I told Vic that we could fly on the Arizona side and get arrested in Arizona, and would spend jail time in Arizona as opposed to jail time in Vegas, which is probably not as fun. So
It's crazy that a beaver built that thing, right?
I know beavers. It's crazy that a beaver built that thing. I know. Like, I mean, back in the days, the beavers were way more productive at pouring concrete and all of that. Ogi says, love your channel. Could you go over on CBOs? Do we need to look for a CBO near the place where we wish to fly? Good question. So CBOs, community-based organizations, there's only 4 of them, unless they added a new one, and I don't know, but there's only 4 of them approved in the United States at the moment. I would recommend looking at Flight Test Community Association, ftca.org, or looking at the FPV Freedom Coalition. Those are the 2 that we recommend. They will be able to help you. It's not a local organization. It's a nationwide organization that was approved by the FAA, and they have a set of guidelines that are published on their website for free. So you can download all of those and do all of that. So... Oh, holy crap. I didn't hear that. I'm following on Vic, what Vic said. He said Hoover security area surrounds Hoover Dam, and then NPS, National Park Service, surrounds the security area. He said they want $12,000 for a film permit.
Is it refundable?
It is not refundable. Yeah, you know where it goes. It goes into the pot that sponsors bills to ban drones. You've heard it here first. Go straight to Stefanik and what's his face from Florida, Scott. Okay. Official Green Diamond says, how does Remote ID work and how to install it? We're getting close on time here, Official Green Diamond. I know you have a lot of great questions. I would say head over to our YouTube channel, which you are in right now when we're done, and then take a look and do a remote ID search on our YouTube channel. We have a ton of videos that explain how to find if your drone is compatible, to find, if not, how to comply with it. So a ton of great information in here. Maybe Jason can link in the back here, can link to that specific video. But yes, I would recommend watching that. Drones over Michigan. Randy says, does Pilot Institute have a place where we can brush up on our Part 107 after we've taken the test? Also, old guys forget from time to time. Everybody forgets. I'm not old yet. Well, kind of, but I forget stuff. So, yes, I mean, I would just go back to the course. If you're a course member, Randy, I would say go back and watch the course every once in a while, maybe reviewing the videos that you're kind of blurry on, and especially the regulation and airspace is really the important stuff. So that's where I would go.
Practice tests and flashcards, right?
Yeah, practice tests. Yeah, we have flashcards available that you can go through. That probably is a good refresher. Great idea, Ethan. JJ says, any news on the Air 3S, Air 4? Nah, not since we posted on News Update on Friday. So I would say go take a look at that. Nothing major at the moment. Actually, we didn't even update on this Friday on News Update. That was 2 weeks ago.
The DJI Neo was last Friday.
Yeah, Neo was last Friday. Before that, we talked about the Air 3. So there's been rumors, and I'm going to say the rumors. I'm going to start with this, but there's been rumors that some DJI drones that are being shipped from overseas are being stopped at customs. Again, just a rumor, unverified, so you do with it what you want, but which could explain why we haven't seen much more information on those new DJI drones. I'm not a conspiracy theory guy, so I'm not going to say that it's somebody else that is slowing this down, but Who knows? So that's that. That's all I'm going to say.
Could be Godzilla.
Could be Godzilla or Batman. So he doesn't get hit by drones. I mean, that's going to be a risk for him. So he's probably involved. He's got a lot of money. Maybe he's the one pushing.
Take her downer.
Maybe. Take her downer. Next. When flying close to an airport and a flyaway occurs, how do we contact the airport? Do you use phone or use VHF radio to contact the control tower? Two things. Before you fly close to an airport, make sure that you have the airport manager phone number available in your phone somewhere or written on a piece of paper, or the control tower phone number. If you have a VHF that transmits, this is an emergency, I would transmit on the radio frequency for the control tower, yes. What do you say? I would say the name of the control tower, like Prescott, for example. I would say Prescott Tower. This is an unmanned aircraft. We're located 2 miles south of the runway, and we just had to fly away. Please let traffic in the area know. I mean, they'll know what to do, but just let them know it was flying in this direction, at this speed, at this altitude. Try to help them locate. Think about what you would do as a controller, what information you would need. You would need to know where the drone is, where it's going, the last time you saw it, at what altitude, if it was climbing or descending, so that they can tell any aircraft in the area. But yes, that's what I would do. Okay, next. Holy, we still have a lot of questions. All right, yeah, we're gonna do a rapid fire question here. Is it legal to fly near wind turbine? Does it count as critical infrastructure? It does not, unless it's marked on the FAA website, or your state decides that it is, because you might get in trouble. Is it a good idea to fly near wind turbines? Probably not. So I'm gonna say stay far away if you can. Any discount codes for your followers for Part 107? Yes, message us. I don't want to share it publicly here, but message us and then we'll do it. contact@pilotinstitute.com. We have one discount that we can share. Glenn Baker says, what insurance do you recommend for commercial drone flying? Typically, whatever your customer requires as far as insurance. Liability insurance for $1 million is the bare minimum. And then hull insurance if you want to protect your drones as well. What if I accidentally go over 50 feet maximum elevation by 5 feet or so for a few seconds? I wouldn't worry about it personally. There's no way to measure 5 feet anyway because it's above the ground. Are there special courses you offer showing how to fly through tight gap in FPV and even regular drones? We have a maneuvers course that can help you. It's not FPV design. It's not designed for FPV specifically. It's designed for any kind of drones, but you can probably get some good tips out of that. But no, we don't have a gap course specifically. Practice is really the way to do it. Start with a bigger gap and then make the gap smaller as you go. Lance Enterprise says, if I have a DJI Mini 3 with its original battery and purchase the extended battery, do I need to discontinue using the smaller battery due to remote ID not activating? If you're flying under Part 107, then yeah, probably a good idea unless you get a module that's going to go on top of that. Next, JJ says, does the Mini 2 SE have remote ID? Nope, I don't think it does. 99% sure it doesn't. If not, what must I do if I register the Mini 2 and put it... I can't read that question, but if you're flying recreationally with a Mini 2 SE, you don't need remote ID, you don't need registration. So you're good. If you fly under Part 107, you need to register and you need to find a module. When taking pictures on my drone, should I use SD card, I'm guessing, or sending straight to my phone? Use the SD card. Definitely use the SD card. Yep. Official Green Diamond says, why does the trust test have a country of residence option for the USSR? I guess if... Wait, what? I know, but why? The USSR hasn't been a thing in quite a while, since right around when I was born. Wait, yeah, but it's...
Since the Beatles.
I'm going to look this up. Tag Johan on that. How detailed does the OOP request have to be to get approved? I don't know how to answer questions like that because it all depends on the type of operation that you do. Give the FAA the information that they need to make a decision. I've said this before, but I'll say it again because I didn't say it today. The FAA is like, when you request a waiver, it's like requesting from your parents to borrow the car when you're 18 years old. You have to make a case for yourself that you're going to be safe and that you're not going to crash. Well, it's the same thing with the FAA. You're convincing the FAA that to let you do something that otherwise is not permitted, and that you need to, then they need to let you do it. So you need to make them feel warm and fuzzy about how you're going to conduct the operation. The good thing is, they have PDF documents that are called WSEG, W-S-E-G, that are published, that are a list of questions that you need to answer on your application. So you don't have to write an essay. You just need to give them the information that they need. I don't know if that answers the question, but I would rather be more detailed and not detailed enough. Let's put it this way. Whew, look at that, 5 o'clock. Pew! Confetti everywhere.
I think that might be a new record.
Yeah, that was a lot of questions. I'm thirsty. These pretzels are making me thirsty. That's a Seinfeld reference for all of you here that don't watch Seinfeld.
You want me to throw you the seltzer water?
No. Seltzer?
A seltzer, yeah, I'll throw it to you.
Yeah, and then shake it. Yeah, that's an inside joke. There's a joke about Seinfeld and seltzer and salsa, and how Spanish people pronounce seltzer and salsa, and they pronounce it the same way. I didn't know. Oh, you have a picture of the coffin? Send it. That's probably a good way to end it. All right, this is the end of this channel. Goodbye. Last transmission. Okay, hold on. Somebody says they're confused. Shit. Where did we confuse? Oh, yeah. No, he says I'm as confused as you are. There's the coffin. There you go. So that's the coffin. Yeah. I don't know how to end it now, but this was the coffin. Rest in pieces, coffin. Yeah, it was nice having you in there while we weren't in there. That would have been spooky. Plus, somebody would have probably played some bad jokes. Probably Ben right there. So, all right, folks, thanks for watching. Head over to the community. Go watch this announcement that we made about the new community stuff that we have. And then, yeah, we'll be back on Friday for news update. Friday night for in the community for happy hour. And then the following Monday, we'll be back again for some fun questions. Hopefully even more questions. I can go even faster. We can double X my speed, my voice to answer all the questions. All right, that's it. Bye-bye.